What is up, guys? It is Kevin here, and today I have a very special video for you. You can see that my voice is a little different from usual, and you can see that I have a slight upgrade to how I record my videos, because I have two new things gotta show you, plus one thing I also gotta show you that's the main part of the video. I have myself a new Akai Professional LPD8, a pad controller which I use as a drum pads, and I'm recording my voice into the Neat Widget B mic, which you can't see as clear here, but if I move here, you see? I can record my voice into it. But that's not what I'm gonna focus on today. What I'm about to focus on is what is on your screen at the moment. It is the UVI Model D piano sample library by UVI. You see, I've worked with many piano sample libraries over the years. I have worked with the Grandeur, which is a sample also of the Model D by Steinway. I've worked with Garrison CFX, which is a sample library of the Yamaha CFX. I've worked with the Pearl Concert Grand, which is a sample of the C7. I've worked with Cinematic Studio Pianos, which is also a sample of the C7, and stuff like that. I've worked with many piano libraries, and they're all awesome for their own reasons, and they all have their own cons. Same thing for UVI. Now today, it isn't my first time using it, but when I'm doing any reviews, like I said before in the previous videos, I always use the default settings just to test out all the original stuff, without using reverb or effects or anything. When I look at piano libraries, I look at two things. First of all, the cleanness of the UI, the user interface. How easy it is to navigate through each tab and understand what you can do to tweak what you want to tweak. Second thing is, of course, sound quality, as well as how it plays. So sound quality meaning, does it sound like an actual piano that they're trying to represent? In this case, does this sound like I'm actually playing a Steinway Model D, for example? And as well, how does it play? You see, I have myself a Hammer 88 by M Audio, 88 key weighted MIDI controller. So it kind of, I'm talking about kind of, not for sure, it is kind of representing an actual grand piano. You can see these keys, they all have like weighted action. So when I play into this, does it feel like I'm playing an actual piano, right? Because sometimes, even with some of the best kind of MIDI controllers you have, or keyboard that supports MIDI, and you have just the average quality piano sample library, it's still not going to be too good. Let's first of all talk about the pros of this sample library. Super clean user interface. You have just 3 tabs. I'm probably not going to tweak around anything ever for this. Let's focus on the bottom. The first one with this little mic is the main sample. You have the key suite here, the main piano, and then at the bottom you have the keys. That's it. And the UVI logo as well. Second tab, you have yourself some filter, pitch modulation wheel, tone, filter envelope, amplitude envelope, and stuff like that. And the third tab is the FX tab, which you can change around some delays and stuff like that, which for me, I'm planning to use this library a lot more for like a recording just piano. So if you know what I mean, that is, I'm just going to record piano covers, so I don't think I'll need a lot of these FX. So let's go back to the main one. And like I said, I always load up the very basic version, the basic dry. Now let's talk about the cons of this piano sample library, at least from me. And the biggest con is when you play loud on the treble section, it tends to get a little iffy. For example, here is when I play something that's soft in piano. I'm going to do it now in mezzo piano. Now if I do it in piano, or not in piano but in forte, so earlier it was mezzo forte, not mezzo piano either, so that's alright. But then when I get to probably fortissimo, it tends to get a little iffy. I'm not seeing a huge difference, It's still wonderful, but that's one of the issues. The other issue that I do encounter is the pedaling is a little bit of an issue. You have to be really careful, otherwise you see at the beginning, even though I stepped on the pedal, it was a little iffy. Now let's test out a couple pieces. First of all, I'm going to play a little bit of Mariage d'Amour, and then I'm going to play a little bit of Pirates of the Caribbean. Again, these two pieces I play a lot to test out because they cover a lot of the range of the piano, which is fantastic. For Mariage d'Amour, more or less, almost the entirety of the keyboard. And for Pirates of the Caribbean, more at the lower register at the beginning, so it would give us a good tester. Just a wonderful, wonderful piano sample library. Honestly, if you ask me, I couldn't really tell that I'm actually playing on the keyboard. Now, of course, talking about that, the biggest probably con or the biggest issue with a piano sample library versus an actual piano is probably it's coming out of the computer. So you'll either be using a speaker or your headphones, or if you're just playing straight out of the computer, that's fine as well. It's not coming out of a soundboard. So even if you have the most expensive keyboard in the world, the best of the best speakers, a Bose or something like that, you're still not getting the essence of the actual natural sound, which can be an issue. But other than that, it feels pretty good so far. Now let's try some Pirates of the Caribbean to see how that would sound for the bass. Just listen to the bass of this piano, so nice. So overall, what do I think then about this piano sample library? I would give it probably out of 10, I would give it an 8. It's very much usable, and it does give you that essence of playing a UVI Model D. Of course, I had the luxury of playing the actual Steinway D, which gives me an easier comparison. And my Steinway D that I played was placed in my school's large Morgan auditorium, which has reverb and everything. It's so nice to play. And of course, I have not a most expensive one, but also not the cheapest kind of keyboard you have, which gives me a better comparison. So would I recommend it to you? Well, for sure, because guess what? It only costs around $60 compared to the Grande, which is around 90 to 100. Garrison CFX gets to around 120-ish, unless you want to get the light version, that is, and stuff. But this sample library at $60 offers you a lot that you can do. And if you're just looking to maybe get a piano sample library so you could cooperate it with your keyboard to just practice piano, that is one for you. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this rather honest review of this piano sample library, and I'll see you again in the next video. Goodbye.